Amira adjusted the strap of her designer handbag as she stepped out of the elevator, her heart fluttering at the familiar scent drifting from Kelvin's living room. He was already waiting for her, handsome, relaxed, and smiling the way only a man deeply comfortable in forbidden love could. He pulled her into his arms the moment she entered. "You look stunning," he whispered, brushing his lips along her neck. She laughed softly and set her bag on the table. "I missed you." The house felt too quiet, too soft, too welcoming. It made her bold. She wrapped her arms around his waist, and he kissed her forehead with the tenderness of a man who had promised her everything except freedom. They moved toward the bedroom, laughing, teasing, careless. Kelvin lifted her gently onto the bed, and Amira ran her fingers through his hair, pulling him closer. He kissed her again, this time deeper, slower, as if the world belonged only to them. A soft clicking sound broke the moment. The front door. Kelvin froze. His hand slipped from her waist. "That can't be her," he whispered, but his voice trembled. Footsteps, slow, steady, approaching. Amira's breath caught as a shadow moved past the bedroom door. She gripped the bedsheet, nails digging into the fabric. Her entire body stiffened. Then silence. Kelvin swallowed hard. "Don't move." But the footsteps returned, this time coming straight toward them. The door swung open. Mrs. Adana stood there, quiet as a storm before lightning. Her eyes scanned the room once, stopped on Amira's bare legs, then on Kelvin's guilty face. She didn't scream. She didn't question. She simply turned around and walked away. Amira's heartbeat hammered in her chest. Kelvin reached for his shirt with shaking hands. "Just stay calm." "Let me think," he muttered, but he couldn't even look at her. The house felt like a waiting coffin. Seconds later, Mrs. Adana returned. This time, her footsteps were sharp, angry, final. She stepped into the bedroom, her expression unreadable. Then her hand slid into her handbag. Amira stopped breathing. A gun appeared. Kelvin lurched forward. "Adana, put it down." She didn't blink. "Give me your phone," she said to Amira. Amira's trembling hands fumbled as she reached for the phone. She placed it in the wife's palm like it was a sacrifice. "Unlock it." Her fingers shook violently as she typed in the password. Mrs. Adana dialed a number from the call log. Amira heard her father's voice through the speaker. The wife's tone was calm, chillingly calm. "Come and pick your daughter's body." Amira screamed and stumbled backward, hitting the dressing table. Kelvin shouted and reached for his wife, but she stepped back and pointed the gun directly at Amira's chest. "Please." Amira cried, lifting her hands. "I didn't mean." Her voice broke. She saw death in the woman's eyes. Desperation took over. In one reckless second, she lunged forward, reaching for the gun, anything to push it away, anything to survive. Kelvin shouted her name, but her hands were already on the weapon. A struggle. A twist. A panicked gasp. A finger slipping. Bang. Her body jerked. She staggered backward. Then collapsed onto the floor. Kelvin screamed tore through the house as he fell beside her, lifting her head onto his lap. Blood pooled beneath her, warm and fast. Mrs. Adana stepped back, staring at the gun in her hand, shaking now, no longer steady. Her lips parted, but no words came. She dropped her car keys on the table, picked her handbag, and walked toward the door. Kelvin looked up, broken. "Adana, don't leave me. Please." She didn't stop. She didn't turn. The front door closed behind her with a cold, final click. Minutes later, the blare of sirens filled the street. Amira's father ran into the bedroom first. The sight of his daughter on the floor made his knees buckle. He let out a cry that seemed to tear the entire house apart. The police followed. They found Kelvin still holding Amira's lifeless body, shaking violently, whispering her name through tears. "Sir," an officer said, pulling him to his feet. "You're under arrest." Kelvin didn't fight. Didn't speak. Didn't move. He only stared at the door where his wife had disappeared. The officers led him away, stepping around the blood that had once been love, passion, desire, now reduced to tragedy. The house fell silent. Cold. Empty. Echoing with the price of a secret love that had finally consumed them all.